ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk to you today about a simple yet powerful principle, the power of closing doors. In our lives, we are constantly faced with doors, some that beckon us toward greatness, and others that serve as distractions or obstacles. But we often overlook an essential truth sometimes. We must intentionally close the door to certain things in order to step fully into our purpose. Life is full of opportunities and challenges, yet we don't have the capacity to explore every door that comes our way. The truth is, some doors we must close deliberately, decisively. Why? Because every door we leave open is an invitation for something to enter, whether it aligns with our destiny or not. One of the first doors we must close is the door to our past. How many of us have been held captive by past mistakes, failures, or hurt? We carry the weight of what was, and it shapes our present. But I urge you today, close the door to the past. Close the door to regret, to hurt, to guilt. You cannot move forward with your hands full of yesterday's baggage. It's time to release what's behind you so you can fully embrace what lies ahead. And then there is the door of negativity. Sometimes it's not just the past that holds us back, it's the negative voices and toxic relationships around us. These voices can drown out our purpose, confuse our direction, and wear down our spirit. Close the door to negativity. You cannot afford to allow anything or anyone to drag you away from your destiny. But perhaps one of the most significant doors we need to shut is the door to fear. Fear has a way of locking us into a small, comfortable space, convincing us that stepping out of our comfort zone is too risky. But let me tell you, this fear is not your friend. Fear keeps you from seeing your true potential. To step into the fullness of who you are meant to be, you must close the door on fear. Open the door to courage, to faith, to action. Sometimes, though, we are afraid to close doors because we are not sure of what lies on the other side. We hold on to things and people because they feel familiar, even if they're not helping us grow. But I say to you today, close the door to comfort. The comfort zone is where dreams go to die. To grow, to change, to evolve, you must close the door on comfort and embrace the discomfort of new beginnings. Understand this: closing a door is not an end, it is the beginning of something greater. Every door that closes opens the possibility for a new one to swing wide open, leading you to a new chapter of your life. When you close a door, you create space for a new opportunity, a new relationship, a new vision. But timing is everything. Some doors must be closed at once, and some will require patience. You can't rush the process. Know when it's time to move forward, and trust that the right doors will open when you close the wrong ones. In closing, I leave you with this thought: doors are not just about opportunities to enter, they are about decisions to leave behind what no longer serves you. Close the door to the past, close the door to fear, close the door to regret, and close the door to anything that is hindering your growth. The moment you close the door on the old is the moment you step into the new. And the new will be greater than anything you've left behind. In life, we are constantly presented with doors. Some of them are doors of opportunity, some are doors of challenge, and some are doors that bring us face to face with our fears. Each door in our lives carries a unique meaning, and how we approach these doors can shape the course of our journey. The power of doors lies in their ability to change the direction of our lives, to open us up to new experiences, or to close off paths that no longer serve us. Every time we face a door, we have a choice. A door is more than just a physical boundary. It represents a point of decision. It's a threshold we must cross in order to move forward, whether it's a decision to enter a new relationship, take on a new job, or pursue a new dream. These doors offer us a chance to step into something new, something that may require us to stretch beyond our current limitations and grow into the person we were always meant to be. But not all doors are meant to be open. Some doors are meant to be closed. The beauty of life is that we have the power to decide which doors to open and which ones to shut. It is through this process of discernment, of knowing when to walk through and when to walk away, that we grow. The power of doors is not just in the ones we enter, but in the wisdom we gain when we choose not to enter certain ones. There are doors that lead us to distractions, to confusion, to places and people that pull us away from our purpose. Recognizing these doors and having the courage to close them can be just as powerful as opening the right ones. When we choose to open a door, we often do so with hope, with faith that what lies beyond it will be worth the journey. But just as important is the act of closing doors that no longer serve us. Closing the door to something that no longer aligns with our values or goals doesn't signify failure, is an act of wisdom and self-respect. Sometimes, in order to embrace the new, we must be willing to let go of the old, even if it feels familiar or safe. In these moments, we must trust that closing one door will open another, one that leads us to greater opportunities and a fuller life. The doors we encounter in life are not just physical structures, they represent transitions, changes, and possibilities. Every door holds within it the potential to alter the course of our lives if we are willing to step through it, or if we are wise enough to know when to close it behind us. The power of doors in life lies not in the doors themselves, but in how we respond to them, how we make choices about which paths to take, and how we take ownership of the journey ahead. Decision-making is at the heart of every door we encounter in life. Every door presents us with a choice, and each choice carries the potential to alter the trajectory of our journey. In moments of decision, we stand at a threshold, unsure of what lies beyond, but aware that our choice will shape the future. The way we approach these decisions determines the direction we take, and how we choose which doors to walk through can either lead us to growth or keep us in stagnation. When we are faced with a door, we often feel the weight of the decision. The decision to enter a new opportunity, to embrace a new relationship, or to take a risk on something unknown requires careful thought and sometimes even great courage. But decision-making is not always about what we gain, it's also about what we leave behind. When we choose to open one door, we may be closing another, whether that's a door to safety, comfort, or familiarity. This balancing act between embracing the new and letting go of the old is what makes decision-making so complex and significant. Sometimes the hardest part of decision-making is knowing when not to walk through a door. Not every opportunity that presents itself is the right one for us, and not every path leads to fulfillment. Some doors, though tempting, may lead us away from our true purpose or pull us to distractions. In these moments, our ability to discern which doors are aligned with our values, goals, and aspirations becomes critical. It is in the quiet moments of reflection, of trusting our intuition, and of being honest with ourselves that we can recognize when a door is one we should not open. Good decision-making requires more than just the ability to choose. It requires the wisdom to recognize when a door is not meant for us. The ability to close doors, whether they are relationships, opportunities, or paths that no longer serve us, is just as vital as the ability to open new ones. Understanding that not every door must be opened and not every path must be pursued frees us from the paralysis of indecision. It allows us to make choices that move us closer to our purpose, to our potential, and to the life we are meant to live. Decision-making is about trusting ourselves and having the confidence to walk through the doors that align with our vision, while also having the wisdom to close the ones that no longer fit our journey. Each decision we make shapes the person we become and the life we build. The doors we choose to open or close reflect who we are and where we are headed. And it is through this process of careful discernment that we create the future we desire. To move forward in life, we must first recognize that the past is a place of reflection, not residence. Holding on to past hurts, regrets, or disappointments can weigh us down in ways that we might not even fully understand. These past wounds, whether from relationships, failures, or difficult experiences, have a way of leaving scars that linger far beyond the moment they occurred. If we allow these scars to define us, they become more than just memories. They start to shape our present and future in limiting ways. Closing the door to past hurts is not about forgetting what happened. It's about choosing not to let the past control us anymore. The act of holding on to past hurts can be a silent, invisible burden. Sometimes we are unaware of how much our unresolved pain is affecting our choices, relationships, and opportunities. We may carry bitterness, anger, or guilt without even realizing how deeply it impacts our mindset and emotional well-being. We may even convince ourselves that we are justified in holding on to this pain because of how we've been wronged. But while this may seem like a natural response, holding on to past hurts keeps us tethered to a time and place that no longer exists. Every moment spent dwelling on the past is a moment taken away from the present time we could be investing in growth, healing, and new possibilities. To close the door to past hurts requires an active decision to let go. It requires acknowledging the pain and the impact it has had on us, but also understanding that we cannot change what happened. What we can change is how we respond to it. Forgiveness, whether it's forgiveness of others or of ourselves, is a crucial part of this process. Forgiveness does not excuse or diminish the pain, but it releases us from the grip of bitterness and resentment. It frees us to move forward without the weight of the past holding us back. Closing the door to past hurts also means letting go of the limiting beliefs that stem from those hurts. We might start to believe that we are unworthy of happiness or success because of the things we've experienced. We might think that we are destined to repeat the same mistakes or suffer the same betrayals. These thoughts keep us in a cycle of self-doubt and fear. But when we close the door to those beliefs, we make room for a new narrative, a narrative where we are capable of healing, of growth, and of stepping into a better future. It's important to understand that closing the door to past hurts is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice. There may be times when we feel the sting of past pain resurface, and that's normal. The process of healing is not linear, but every time we choose to move past the hurt, we strengthen our ability to leave it behind. We train ourselves to focus on the present and the future, rather than allowing the past to continue shaping our actions, decisions, and outlook on life. Closing the door to past hurts opens up the possibility for new experiences, new relationships, and a new version of ourselves, one that is no longer held captive by what was, but is free to step confidently into what can be. It's about reclaiming our power, our peace, and our potential. When we make the decision to close that door, we give ourselves permission to heal and grow, to create a life not defined by what happened to us, but by the choices we make from this moment forward. In life, we are constantly surrounded by influences, some of them positive, encouraging us to grow, to reach higher, and to become the best versions of ourselves, and others that can be negative, toxic, and even destructive. These negative influences can come from many sources, relationships, environments, media, or even our own internal dialogue. The key to unlocking our potential and living a life aligned with our purpose is understanding when and how to close the door to these negative influences. The truth is, not all influences are worth allowing into our lives. Some will only hinder our progress and keep us from stepping into the greatness that is waiting for us. Often, negative influences don't announce themselves in an overtly harmful way. They don't always look like outright toxicity or hatred. Instead, they may come disguised as comfort, familiarity, or convenience. We may find ourselves staying in unhealthy relationships or environments because they're what we know, and the idea of change can feel overwhelming or frightening. These influences may manifest in the form of people who bring us down with their constant negativity, pessimism, or jealousy, or they may show up in subtle ways through habits or attitudes that lead us to doubt ourselves or question our worth. Regardless of their form, negative influences have one thing in common: they drain us of our energy, time, and potential. They divert us from our goals and often leave us feeling exhausted, frustrated, or stuck. Closing the door to negative influences is an act of self-preservation. It is an act of choosing your peace over the chaos, your purpose over the distractions, and your growth over stagnation. In relationships, it may mean distancing yourself from people who do not support your dreams, who criticize you or attempt to undermine your confidence. These people may not always intend to harm, but their words and actions can slowly erode your sense of self-worth and potential. By closing the door to these relationships, you free yourself from the emotional drain of constant criticism and negativity, allowing room for more uplifting and encouraging connections. In other cases, negative influences can take the form of self-sabotage. Sometimes the most harmful influences are the ones we create ourselves through fear, doubt, or limiting beliefs. These negative self-talk patterns can stop us from taking risks or pursuing opportunities. We tell ourselves we are not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to succeed. In these moments, closing the door to these negative inner voices becomes essential. We must choose to silence the doubts and replace them with affirmations of our strength, our ability, and our worth. When we close the door to self-doubt and fear, we create space for courage, confidence, and action. It is also important to consider the external environments and media we expose ourselves to. The world is full of noise, and not all of it is beneficial. Social media, news, and other forms of media can sometimes amplify negativity and fear, feeding us information that fosters anxiety, insecurity, or a sense of inadequacy. Constantly consuming this kind of content can distort our perception of the world and our place in it. Closing the door to such negativity means curating the information we allow into our minds, choosing sources that inspire us, uplift us, and encourage us to be better versions of ourselves. It also means being mindful of the time we spend on these platforms and how they make us feel. If they leave us feeling drained or disheartened, it's time to close that door. The decision to close the door to negative influences requires courage and discernment. It may not always be easy, especially when these influences are deeply ingrained in our lives or when they come from people we care about. However, the power lies in understanding that we are in control of the energy and influences we allow into our lives. When we close the door to negativity, we reclaim our power and our peace. We make room for positivity, for people who believe in us, and for experiences that align with our dreams and purpose. This decision is not about isolating ourselves or avoiding difficult conversations. It's about creating boundaries that protect our emotional well-being and mental health. It's about ensuring that the people and environments we engage with serve to encourage and elevate us rather than holding us back. When we close the door to negative influences, we open ourselves up to possibilities, growth, and a life that is true to who we are and what we are meant to achieve. The act of closing these doors is a declaration that we are worthy of peace, of joy, and of a future filled with opportunities for growth and success. When we think about doors, we often associate them with opportunities, choices, and new beginnings. However, there is another side to the concept of doors that is just as powerful, the freedom that comes from closing them. The act of closing a door is not just an end, it is a deliberate choice to free ourselves from what no longer serves us, and this freedom is often the key to moving forward with purpose. It is only when we close certain doors that we make room forward with purpose. It is only when we close certain doors that we make room for new possibilities, new experiences, and new growth. Closing a door can feel like a loss, a moment of finality, especially when we are letting go of something that has been familiar or comforting. But in reality, closing a door is a form of release, not a restriction. It frees us from being stuck in the past, from continuing to walk down paths that lead to nowhere, or from holding on to things that hold us back. There is a profound freedom in the decision to step away from what is no longer aligned with our values, goals, or dreams. This release allows us to unburden ourselves, creating space for new opportunities and possibilities that were previously hidden or inaccessible. In many cases, we may hold on to open doors out of fear or a sense of obligation. We might fear that closing one door will lead to missed opportunities, or we may feel guilty about leaving something or someone behind. But the truth is that when we leave doors open unnecessarily, we are keeping ourselves bound to the past, to distractions, or to situations that are not helping us grow. By closing the door to the familiar, the safe, or the unfulfilling, we liberate ourselves from the constraints of the old. We step into a world of possibility where we are free to create new outcomes, follow new paths, and pursue dreams we may have once thought were out of reach. The freedom in closing doors also lies in the power it gives us over our own lives. When we make the conscious decision to close a door, we are taking control of our circumstances rather than letting them control us. It is an affirmation that we are not passive participants in our lives, but active decision makers who determine our path. In closing the door to toxic relationships, harmful habits, or limiting beliefs, we are making a statement that we are worthy of better, that we deserve more, and that we are willing to do what it takes to create the life we envision for ourselves. This empowerment is liberating, as it brings us closer to living authentically and fully. Closing doors also teaches us the power of boundaries. Many times we open doors to things or people simply because we lack the courage to set boundaries. We let others dictate our time, our energy, or our focus without recognizing that we have the right to close the door and say no when necessary. The act of closing a door is a healthy boundary, an affirmation that we are protecting our well-being and our time. This freedom allows us to preserve our energy for what truly matters instead of dispersing it across things and relationships that drain us. By closing the door to what doesn't contribute to our growth, we give ourselves the gift of focus, clarity, and purpose. Closing doors is also an essential part of personal growth. It signifies a turning point, a decision to leave behind the past and embrace the unknown future with confidence. Every door that closes marks a new chapter in our journey, and with each closed door, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our desires. This process of elimination helps us refine our vision and better understand who we are and what we need to move forward. The freedom in closing doors lies in the clarity it brings, allowing us to focus on what matters most and to let go of distractions and baggage that could otherwise cloud our judgment. When we embrace the freedom of closing doors, we begin to realize that it is not the absence of doors, but the intentional closing of the wrong ones that paves the way for true progress. It is not about shutting ourselves off from the world, but about creating space for the right things to enter. With each door we close, we open ourselves up to new beginnings, to new opportunities, and to a new version of ourselves, one that is empowered, focused, and ready to step into the future with confidence. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that can hold us back in life. It shapes our decisions, limits our potential, and keeps us trapped in a state of uncertainty. Fear often whispers in our minds, telling us that we are not capable, that we are unworthy, or that failure is inevitable. It creates a mental barrier that prevents us from taking risks, pursuing dreams, or stepping outside our comfort zones. But the truth is, fear is not a reality. It is merely an illusion, a product of our minds, and it only has power all over us when we allow it to. Closing the door to fear is a choice, a conscious decision to stop letting it dictate our actions and to move forward with courage, faith, and confidence. The first step in closing the door to fear is recognizing that fear does not define us. We are not the fears we experience. Fear is simply an emotion, a reaction to uncertainty or perceived threat. It does not have to control our actions unless we allow it to. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown, they all exist in the realm of possibility, but they are not certainties. In fact, many of the things we fear are often far worse in our minds than they are in reality. When we face our fears head on, we often find that they lose their power. The fear of making a mistake can paralyze us, but the act of trying and learning from those mistakes helps us grow, making the fear itself irrelevant. Closing the door to fear also means challenging the limiting beliefs that accompany it. Fear often arises from the stories we tell ourselves, stories that tell us we're not good enough, not capable enough, or not deserving of success. These beliefs are deeply ingrained and may have been formed over years of negative experiences or critical voices from others. But we are not bound by these stories. When we choose to close the door to fear, we choose to stop living in the shadow of these limiting beliefs. We replace them with empowering thoughts, affirmations of our strengths and abilities, and the knowledge that we are fully capable of handling whatever challenges come our way. Fear also thrives on uncertainty, and many times it's the unknown that creates the most anxiety. But what if we shifted our perspective and began to see uncertainty as an opportunity rather than a threat? The unknown is a canvas for possibility, and the future is not something to fear, but something to embrace. When we close the door to fear, we open ourselves up to the excitement and adventure of the unknown. Instead of fearing what could go wrong, we start to focus on what could go right. We begin to see challenges as stepping stones, not obstacles, and we develop the resilience to face whatever comes our way with strength and determination. In closing the door to fear, we also embrace the idea that failure is not something to be avoided, but something to be learned from. The fear of failure often keeps us from taking action, but failure is simply part of the journey to success. Every great achievement comes with its share of failures, mistakes, and setbacks. When we close the door to the fear of failure, we free ourselves to try, to experiment, and to learn without the constant weight of judgment. Failure no longer holds the power to define us. Instead, it becomes a valuable lesson in our personal growth and development. Another key aspect of closing the door to fear is understanding that courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward despite it. Courage is not about being fearless, it's about taking action in the face of fear, trusting that we have the strength to overcome whatever challenges lie ahead. The more we choose to act in spite of fear, the more we build our courage and resilience. Closing the door to fear is a gradual process, one that requires practice, but with each step, we become more comfortable navigating life without being paralyzed by the fear of what could go wrong. When we choose to close the door to fear, we are essentially choosing to live a life of possibility. We allow ourselves to take risks, to pursue dreams, and to live authentically without the constant weight of anxiety and doubt. Closing the door to fear means no longer letting fear control our future, no longer allowing it to dictate our decisions or hold us back from achieving our full potential. It means stepping into our power and embracing the fullness of life, knowing that we are capable, strong, and ready to face whatever comes our way with courage and confidence. Closing doors in life often requires more than just a moment of decision. It demands a sense of timing and patience that many may overlook. It is easy to feel the urge to act immediately, to rush into new beginnings or shut out the past. But true growth often comes when we understand that timing is everything. There are moments when closing a door must be deliberate and well considered, as the decision to leave something behind should not be rushed. It is about knowing when the time is right to close one door and how to wait with patience for the door that should open in its place. The process of closing doors, whether it's letting go of a relationship, an old habit, or an outdated belief, often does not happen in an instant. It is a journey, and timing plays a significant role in it. Sometimes we are not yet ready to let go of something because we haven't fully processed the emotions or lessons tied to it. Rushing to close a door before we are ready can lead to regrets or unfinished business that may resurface later. In these situations, patience is required, allowing ourselves the time to heal, reflect, and gain the clarity needed to make an informed decision. Knowing the right time to close a door is an art. It is about reading the signs around us and listening to the stillness within. Sometimes, the decision comes after careful thought and reflection. Other times it may arise from a moment of sudden clarity when everything falls into place and we realize that continuing to hold on to something is no longer serving our well-being or purpose. Recognizing this moment of clarity often requires patience, waiting until we are in a place where we can make the choice from a position of strength rather than impulse. There is a kind of wisdom in allowing ourselves the space to see the situation for what it truly is, without rushing toward closure before we are emotionally prepared. Patience in closing doors also means understanding that some doors close naturally with the passage of time. We may not always need to force a door to close sometimes. It is enough to simply allow life to unfold and trust that the time will come when we are ready to move on. Often the most powerful transformations occur when we stop trying to control the timing and instead embrace the natural flow of life. In these moments, we find that as we grow, the need for certain things or people fades and doors close on their own without resistance. The patience to wait for this natural closing frees us from the anxiety of trying to force things that aren't meant to be. Timing and patience are key when it comes to knowing when to let go of expectations. Often we become fixated on the way we want things to unfold or how we believe they should turn out. These expectations can cloud our judgment and make us reluctant to close doors that need to be closed. We may resist letting go of something because we are attached to a certain outcome or a dream that no longer aligns with who we are or what we need. In these cases, patience means being willing to let go of the outcome we once envisioned and trusting that the future will unfold in a way that is even better than we could have imagined. Closing doors with patience also allows us to be gentle with ourselves during the transition. The process of closure can be difficult, and rushing it can cause unnecessary emotional turmoil. Patience gives us the grace to process our feelings, mourn what we are leaving behind, and fully acknowledge the significance of the door we are closing. It provides the space we need to accept the end of a chapter without feeling pressure to move on too quickly. In this space, we can reflect on the lessons learned, the growth achieved, and the ways in which we have evolved in the process. As we develop a sense of timing and patience, we come to realize that closing doors is not an act of rejection, but one of acceptance. It is about understanding that every ending makes way for a new beginning, but the transition requires time to unfold. Patience helps us stay present in the moment, knowing that the closing of one door does not mark the end of our journey, but simply the beginning of a new phase. When we learn to trust the timing of life and embrace the process with patience, we discover that closing doors becomes less about loss and more about opportunity and opportunity to make space for what is next, with faith that it will be just what we need. Letting go is one of the most difficult yet essential actions in life. It is an act of releasing what no longer serves us, whether it's relationships, old beliefs, habits, or past hurts. Sir, holding on to things, whether they are people, material possessions, or memories, can prevent us from moving forward, growing, and embracing the fullness of life that awaits us. The necessity of letting go lies in the fact that we cannot fully step into what is meant for us until we release what no longer fits our purpose, our growth, or our happiness. When we hold on to things from the past, they create a kind of emotional or psychological clutter. This clutter weighs us down, making it harder to see the present clearly and preventing us from being fully present in our lives. Whether it's the attachment to a failed relationship, a job that no longer fulfills us, or a dream that has not come to fruition, these attachments often become a burden. The longer we cling to them, the more they drain our energy and focus. Letting go is not about forgetting or erasing the significance of those things, but rather about freeing ourselves from their control over our future. In letting go, we are making space for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that align more with who we are becoming. Letting go is also necessary for personal growth. Growth requires change, and change requires the ability to adapt and move forward. There are times when we outgrow certain situations, people, or phases of life. Holding on to what is familiar, even if it no longer serves us, can prevent us from evolving. Our past experiences may have shaped who we are, but they should not define who we become. To grow, we must be willing to let go of limiting beliefs, outdated patterns, and past identities that keep us anchored to who we were rather than who we are becoming. The necessity of letting go lies in the fact that we cannot grow and reach our full potential if we are continually holding on to the past. Letting go is also an act of self-love. When we hold on to toxic people, relationships, or situations, we are essentially choosing to stay in a space that is harmful to our well-being. Letting go means we are choosing ourselves, our peace, our happiness, and our mental and emotional health. It is an act of setting boundaries that protect our emotional energy and allow us to focus on what truly nourishes us. The necessity of letting go in this sense is rooted in self-respect. We deserve to be in environments that support our growth, and we deserve relationships that encourage our happiness and development. By letting go of what does not contribute to our well-being, we make room for people and experiences that lift us up. Another reason letting go is necessary is because it allows us to embrace the unknown. We often hold on to the familiar because it provides a sense of security, even if it is no longer serving us. The unknown can be scary, as it is outside of our comfort zone. But it is in the unknown that true possibilities lie. By letting go of the things that are keeping us stuck in the past or in comfort, we allow ourselves to venture into new territory. It is only in releasing the old that we can open ourselves up to new experiences and new lessons that we would otherwise miss out on. Letting go, in this sense, is not an ending, it is a doorway to new beginnings. The process of letting go is also about embracing the natural flow of life. Life is ever-changing, and the world around us is constantly in motion. To resist change, to hold on to what we think we need, is to go against the current. Letting go is necessary because it aligns us with the natural rhythm of life, allowing us to flow with the changes that come our way. When we release what no longer serves us, we are able to move with life rather than against it, adapting to new circumstances and trusting that the changes happening are for our greater good. Letting go is not always easy. It takes courage, self-awareness, and trust in the process of life. It may bring up feelings of sadness, fear, or uncertainty as we face the void left by what we are releasing. But it is in this space of emptiness that new opportunities can take root. The necessity of letting go lies in the understanding that the act of releasing creates space for something better, something more aligned with who we are today. Without letting go, we are unable to fully embrace what the future holds. By releasing the things that weigh us down, we are giving ourselves the freedom to step into a life that is truly ours, a life that is open to growth, new experiences, and a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. Regret is a powerful emotion that has the ability to hold us captive in the past. preventing us from fully living in the present and moving toward the future. It is often a lingering feeling that we should have done something differently, that we made a mistake, or that we missed an opportunity. However, regret serves no positive purpose if it is allowed to linger. It becomes a barrier that keeps us stuck, unable to move forward as we replay our past choices and imagine how things could have been different. Closing the door to regret is essential if we want to experience true peace and freedom. It means making a conscious decision to release the hold that the past has over us and accepting that the only thing we can control is the present moment. The reality is that we cannot change the past. No matter how much we dwell on a particular decision or mistake, the outcome cannot be altered. Regret often comes from the belief that we could have made better choices or that we should have known better. But the truth is, we made the best decisions we could with the information and circumstances we had at the time. We have to remember that life is a series of learning experiences, and even mistakes or perceived failures contribute to our growth. When we close the door to regret, we accept that each choice, no matter the outcome, has brought us to where we are today. We embrace our journey as it is and learn to appreciate the lessons rather than focusing on what could have been. Holding on to regret often comes from a fear of the unknown or a fear of failure. We may constantly replay the past because we are scared of making the same mistakes again. But the truth is, regret keeps us from taking action in the present. It stops us from taking risks, from moving forward, and from believing that the future holds something better. The only way to avoid repeating mistakes is not by constantly looking back in regret, but by learning from those experiences and using that knowledge to make wiser choices in the future. Closing the door to regret frees us from this paralyzing fear, allowing us to trust ourselves and move forward with courage and confidence. There is also a deep emotional weight attached to regret. It can manifest as guilt, shame, or self-blame, all of which drain us emotionally and spiritually. When we dwell in regret, we are not only holding on to the past, but we are also carrying around emotional baggage that prevents us from fully embracing the present. By closing the door to regret, we let go of the emotional burden that weighs us down. We free ourselves from self-judgment and begin to show ourselves the same compassion and understanding that we would offer to a friend. We recognize that we are human, that we make mistakes, and that we are not defined by our past choices. Letting go of regret means forgiving ourselves and accepting that we are doing the best we can in each moment. Closing the door to regret also means choosing to focus on what we can control, our actions and mindset moving forward. Regret often keeps us trapped in the past because we waste so much energy on things we cannot change. However, the power lies in how we respond to those past experiences. By shifting our focus to what we can do now, we free ourselves from the grip of regret and begin to create new possibilities. We understand that each new day is an opportunity to start fresh, to make better choices, and to move closer to our goals. The future is not defined by the past unless we allow it to be. When we close the door to regret, we open the door to possibility, to growth, and to a future filled with hope. Closing the door to regret allows us to embrace gratitude for what has happened rather than focusing on what we wish had been different. Life is full of twists and turns, and each experience, whether good or bad, shapes who we are and where we are going. By letting go of regret, we begin to see the beauty in the journey, even in the challenges. We recognize that every decision, every moment, and every outcome has contributed to our personal development and resilience. When we close the door to regret, we create space for appreciation and gratitude for the lessons learned, the people we've met along the way, and the strength we've gained through overcoming obstacles. The act of closing the door to regret is not about ignoring our past or pretending that it hasn't affected us. It is about acknowledging our experiences, learning from them, and then releasing them so that they no longer control our lives. It is about making peace with what has happened and understanding that we are not prisoners of our past, but creators of our future. By choosing to let go of regret, we step into a life that is free from the weight of past mistakes and open to the possibilities of tomorrow. The door to regret is always there to be closed, and when we make the choice to do so, we reclaim our power, our peace, and our future. When we close a door, it often feels like an ending a moment where something significant is over, and we are left with a sense of loss or uncertainty. Yet, in reality, closing a door is merely the beginning of something new. It is not the end of the story, but the turning of a page, a shift that opens the way for a fresh start. A new beginning is born from the space that is created when we release what no longer serves us. And this new chapter brings with it countless possibilities and opportunities for growth, healing, and transformation. The act of closing a door signals a moment of change, and change is often uncomfortable. We may feel hesitant, unsure, or even fearful of what lies ahead. However, it is through these moments of discomfort that we find our greatest potential for growth. A new beginning does not always come with immediate clarity or certainty, but it does come with the potential for something greater than what we left behind. When we close the door on the past, we free ourselves from the confines of familiar but limiting situations, and we open ourselves to the unknown, where true transformation can happen. The new beginning is about stepping into the unknown with faith and trust, knowing that the possibilities ahead are just as valuable, if not more so, than what we have left behind. Every time we close a door, we are making a conscious decision to move forward. This forward motion is not about forgetting the past, but rather about learning from it and using that knowledge to shape a better future. A new beginning is an opportunity to redefine ourselves, to explore new passions, to set new goals, and to build a future that aligns with our deepest desires and values. It is a chance to create something more authentic, something that reflects who we have become through our experiences. As we close the door on what was, we simultaneously open the door to who we are becoming and what we are capable of achieving. Closing a door also allows us to reclaim our power. Often we hold on to the past because we feel a sense of attachment, whether it's to people, circumstances, or versions of ourselves that are no longer aligned with who we are today. Letting go of these attachments can be challenging, but when we do so, we are taking back control of our lives. We are choosing not to be defined by past experiences or by things that hold us back from reaching our true potential. The new beginning that follows the closing of a door is a chance to take responsibility for our own destiny, to make choices that serve our well-being, and to create the life we envision for ourselves. When we close a door, we also open ourselves up to new opportunities. Often we stay stuck in situations or habits because we are afraid of what comes next. However, a new beginning allows us to embrace the unknown with excitement rather than fear. It's a fresh start. An opportunity to redefine our purpose, to set new intentions, and to create new possibilities. The world is full of opportunities that we may not have noticed while we were focused on what we had to leave behind. A new beginning is a blank canvas waiting for us to fill it with experiences, adventures, and achievements that reflect the best of who we are and what we can contribute to the world. A new beginning also invites healing. When we close a door to a past relationship, a hurt, or a disappointment, we create the space needed for emotional and spiritual healing. Letting go of the past can be difficult, especially when it involves pain or loss, but it is in the release that we find the ability to heal. A new beginning is often accompanied by a sense of renewal, a chance to let go of the emotional baggage we have carried with us for too long. It is an opportunity to forgive, to release old wounds, and to step into a future where we are no longer held captive by the past. Through this healing process, we become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of embracing all the beauty that life has to offer. A new beginning after closing a door also means a shift in perspective. It invites us to see life not as a series of ends, but as a continuous journey of growth and transformation. We begin to understand that each chapter in our lives serves a purpose, and every door that closes makes room for something even more meaningful. The new beginning is not just about a fresh start in the external world, but also an internal one. It's a chance to evolve, to reimagine our goals, and to redefine our dreams based on who we are in this moment. It is a process of constant reinvention, where we continuously shed old layers and emerge as stronger, wiser versions of ourselves. In closing a door, we also learn to embrace the concept of impermanence. Life is ever-changing, and no experience, no matter how significant, lasts forever. When we close one door, we come to terms with the idea that life is a series of transitions, each one offering its own lessons and opportunities. A new beginning reminds us that there is beauty in change, that with every end comes the promise of a new chapter. It encourages us to embrace the ebb and flow of life, to welcome each new phase with curiosity and openness, knowing that the best is yet to come. A new beginning is a chance to reclaim our dreams and our purpose. It is a reminder that no matter how many doors we close, the journey is far from over. With each new chapter, we have the opportunity to create something that is uniquely ours, to live in alignment with our truth, and to embrace the endless possibilities that life has to offer. Closing the door is not an end, but a beginning, a powerful step toward becoming who we are meant to be and living the life we are destined to live. In closing the doors that no longer serve us, we are not saying goodbye to something we've lost, but instead we are welcoming the endless possibilities that await us. Each door we close is a courageous act of self-liberation, a choice to step forward into a future filled with potential growth and new beginnings. We are not defined by our past mistakes, regrets, or attachments. We are defined by our ability to embrace change, to let go of what no longer serves us, and to walk boldly into the unknown with faith and purpose. Remember, every new beginning is a gift, a chance to rewrite our story and to live in alignment with who we are becoming. It is a journey of continuous transformation, where each step forward brings us closer to the fullness of who we are meant to be. So do not fear closing doors, for they are simply gateways to the life you are meant to live. Trust in the process, embrace the change, and know that when you close one door, countless others open before you, waiting to lead you toward your true purpose. Your best days are ahead of you, and the power to shape your future is already within your hands.